Welcome back, everybody. On this video I'm going to finish the Romans and we're going to get them based right now. Alright, I'm going to bring you in for a little behind the scenes on how I'm going to just finish up these Romans. I'm going to just put the finishing touches on them here right before your very eyes. And before I got to this point, I went ahead and I did make another batch of the bases. This is the drawer material. It's smooth on one side. You can get this at any Home Depot. I buy them in 2 foot by 4 foot sheets. They're pretty cheap. They're less than $10 a sheet. I forget how much. But I do use a jigsaw. It's hard to keep them straight even with a line. And what I did earlier was I over here on my other build table, I went ahead and made another template. I did not have a template for this size base. This size base I like to use for my 28 millimeter, and I'm ranking 10 troops to make a regiment. 10 figs. You could play them as 20, you could play them as 10, you could play them as 100. It's just a representation of a block of troops for 28 mil. These work out really good for my Romans. Hail Caesar. You can use these for really any 28 mil game where you want to do the multi-basing like this, so that they're easier to transport. If you need to transport them, they're easier to move around on the table. You're not dealing with all these single based models with the movement trays. So I make a template, I make a note on the template, then I can go out to my workshop and I will make tracings on one of the sheets and start cutting out. Now, I am looking currently for a smaller table saw. I don't need the normal size table saw. I've got a few that I'm looking at. I haven't ordered anything yet, but that's where I'm going with this. Getting a small belt sander. I've been using a palm sander. That works fine, but a belt sander will work a little better. So I want to get a small table saw so I can keep these cuts, you know, nice and straight. And what I'll do is every 2-3 months I'll go out and I will all the various base templates that I have over here for the various 15 mil armies, etc. I will be able to just make a bunch of them, put them in a box or a Tupperware container, storage of some kind, and we'll just I'll just crank out a ton of bases at once. Take 2 or 3 sheets of this material, and in that way my cuts will be nice and straight and square. So that's the plan moving forward. But let's go ahead, let's dive into these guys here. So one of the finishing touches I'm going to do now, remember this is tabletop standard. Right? I'm not going to go in and pick out every little teeny little detail on these figs, okay? I may do things like that for like this leader, the Roman leader, right? And the standard bearer, right? I've been in put some extra details. These are rank and file troops. Like I said, I've got, this will give me 40 regiments of Romans. I already have, let's see, 50 or 60 or 5 or 6 regiments of the Celts that came with the original starter box. So I'm going in here with my leather brown. We're just going to do some of the straps real quick here. And I'm going to go with my smaller brush, my detail brush, which is going to be the Wargamer detail. You can't read it here on this one. This is a newer one, I do believe. This one's insane detail. So I grab one of my fine tip brushes, right? Turn the old hat around so we don't get that in the camera shot for you. I hope everybody's having a great week. It's Saturday, and I got my leisure clothes on, and I'm just chilling. So we're going to go in. I think what we'll do is We will come in on the shot a little bit for you. I'm going to need to come out on this a little bit before I go in. You get in the shot here, guys. And just do this strap, which be for his Gladius. Gladius. I've already done a wash on them. You may be able to see that. We got the medium brown. It works just great. Hides all the imperfections. A little brown on his sword hilt, or his sword, yeah, hilt. Right. And then I'm going to go in. The strap in the front, zip, right on down the line. Strap in the front. I'm going to do the whole thing here with you today, guys. I'm going to do these last minute details. And that strap. See if I need to hit anything if the hilt is even visible, which it's not. Right. And like I said on the last video, guys, I love these Hail Caesar models. They're just so good. So good. You've got a sword hilt there. I'm going to hit that with some brown. On the other side. And the base of his Gladius. Right. And that's where that, you know, doing these in the white base coat with the primer, his bandages, because these are Roman, they're called Roman veterans. Like I said, this came with one of the War Games Illustrated mags. I got a tin soldier sprue, right? Tin soldier sprue, and that's perfect for a regiment. All right, let's hope we got the the auto focus and camera or color selection. Somehow I got on a cinematic mode last video. You may have noticed how yellow it was, and I think I had a yellow hat, and I have it's a yellowy tan. We also put in upstairs in the house that really helps brighten things up, gets the sunlight or any kind of light in the room to really bounce and reflect. I think it jacked with the camera last time. Sorry about that, guys. Zip. You see this detail brush and my regiment brush I'm using this probably 95% of the time. You can see how much of a fine tip that comes to. Right? And you can get a lot of detail. But these like little straps and etc. type things, I need to use my detail brush. You know, beards, mustaches, and the like. Alright, try to stay in the shot here for you guys. I need to have a monitor right in front of me. I think I'm gonna have to upgrade to another camera for my top down. I'm gonna stick with the like I said, I got too much wash on that blade. I'm going to have to hit that. And we'll be doing that here as part of the final touch-up. I'll be going back in and hitting the tops of the armor to make it stand out a little bit better. Like the sun is gleaming off of the swords, right? Right. Come in. He's got some sort of patch across his eye there. That looks good. We'll come back in. We'll go back on the shot a little bit. Might help me stay in the shot a little bit better. There we go. Perfect. Do the hilt, base of the sword. Been watching a lot of, getting into the whole Roman thing. Watching a lot of documentaries on Rome again. Some of them I've seen before. I watched one this morning that it was more about the Roman cavalry, because I'm going to be ordering and building some Roman cavalry to go with this game. So, again, guys, take note. If you don't drink Gatorade, I work outside for a living. I sweat a lot, so I drink one thing of Gatorade a day and the rest water, so I can get some of the sugars and salts that are in the Gatorade can get into my system. And I've saved hundreds of these caps over the last few years, and you can see how that really helps me twist and turn the Mini to get to the little nooks and crannies. I know a lot of guys will build them, will paint them on the sprue. That's really never been my thing. You can see here I got too much of the way the wash settled. I'll come in with here in just a little bit. We'll come in with some more shining silver, and I'll highlight those spots again. Right. Now, probably a lot of guys will look at that, where I'm at on these, and say, you know what, they're really tabletop standard. It just depends on your comfort level, on the detail. You see, I didn't really water this, or I didn't water this leather brown down at all. Right. So it's a little on the thick side, but when I'm doing strapping and little tiny bits like this, I don't want it to be too, there's a danger of it being too runny, and I tend to leave, when I'm doing this phase, buckles and straps, I will keep the paint thick. All right, another little hot tip there for any of you new painters out there. Right. And you can always make happy mistakes, right? Happy mistakes. All you have to do is go back in with the other surrounding color. In this case would be metal, steel, and just touch it up. Right? No harm, no foul. Alright, this guy got beat up pretty good. He's got a bandage all over his whole head. But you see, in a normal situation, when I wasn't not talking to the camera, I'd have a movie on or something. You could just crank these out. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Of course, I got an office chair where my elbows can rest on the arms of the office chair. And like I've said in previous videos, I'm making a triangle, right? Like a tripod. And that helps steady your hand to get in and get some of the finer spots on the models. I think this is one of the biggest hurdles to wargaming, is a lot of people are really just intimidated by the painting and the building. And my thought to that is, well, if you have a good income, just hire a commission painter and have them paint you a couple armies, And if you don't want to collect, you just want to play, you get tired of playing that game after a while, a particular game, let's say Hail Caesar, then you can get on eBay and just sell the army and recoup your cash. And then have another couple armies built. So you can still do this hobby. But I think an average, I talked to a couple commission painters at the last convention I went to, which would have been Historicon 2019. I think they range anywhere from $5 to $10 a miniature, depending on the complexity. I think if you go something like this, like a real tabletop standard approach, you're probably going to be more like $5 a fig. And it'll vary if you're going to do 15 mil or 28 mil, right? I'm just looking to see if anything else I could touch up with brown. All right. Star Wars Legion. I got a few finishing bits over here, but I have more coming. More coming. I bought some Wookiees. I got Chewbacca. I got Han Solo, Princess Leia. Those were a little harder to find, it seems. Some of these specialty characters, a lot of places were sold out. I finally found them. See, this guy's got a beard. I have some more terrain pieces coming later today. Right? I got the down ATST. Thought that would be a good feature to put on a battlefield. So yeah, so I got more Star Wars Legion on the way, so I can start fleshing that out, and I can do some more battles and games here in the studio with Star Wars Legion. It took a little getting used to, working through the rules several times, but once I kind of got the hang of the dice and the cards, etc., I like it. It's a good game. I especially like the models. So yeah, I'm gonna keep building up my collection, and then this week I'm gonna dive back in. I've got my Space Marines Ultra Space Marines color on the way. It's It's a Vallejo Air. I'm sure I'm still gonna have to put a little distilled water in the brush or in the mix. We'll see. I have not used that product yet. I have been just using a little small Tupperware container, a little small one, and then I'll put some regular Vallejo in it, water it down with distilled water, pour that into my airbrush, and like I did with my desert mat, it sprays really good. You've got to get the paint thin. That's the bottom line. It's got to be almost as thin as you know, like your airbrush cleaner solution, which is basically distilled water. It's got to be very watery, or it's just not going to come out of your brush. At the 0.5 tip, which is a bigger tip, that paint's got to be watery, guys. You got to think that it's not really like when you're brushing, right? It's just going to spray out, and it's going to be more uniform. It's going to be smoother, you know, for using on terrain pieces, larger model kits. But my airbrush, unless I'm doing a large scale diorama kit, honestly guys, it's for the average miniature painter, it's a perfect tool for using for your primer coats and your finishing top coats, right? And with these Space Marines, I'm painting them all. I'm trying a new technique for me, since they're wearing all that armor. It'd be like doing a knight in shining armor. You know, you're pretty much going to hit him with silver or bolt gunmetal or something like that, and then you'll just come in and pick out the details with another couple colors. So like these Romans, I'm looking at the, see, 1, 2, 3. I did the red leather boots because I think that color is great for like sandals and boots. So I'm looking at only like 5 colors here. All right, 5 colors. All right, so that's it for the leather. I got all the beards, etc. I did a little bit on this guy yesterday. I had some of this color mixed up on my tray doing some other stuff here, and I just wanted to use it up. So I think that's going to be a great color. I'm going to use that same color on my speeder bikes. I forget what color it was, guys, honestly. It's over here on my Roll-O-Matic. Alright, so we got this color done. See if I can dig that color up for you guys. So if you're looking for what that color is, I'm out of the tan earth. I got more tan earth coming. I used up the last bit of tan earth I had doing the highlights on my desert mat, and it turned out really it was very clumpy, so I really had to dump a lot of it into my little container, pour in some distilled water, mix it good with my mixer, and I just ran it through my airbrush like that, right? So yeah, this is what I use, field drab. Right, on this Walker field drab. It's a good substitute. I've got 2. Yes, I've got 2 tubes of it. From there, well, I think one's left over from my Flames of War days. All right, so we're going to put the leather brown away. I'm going to go in with my natural steel, or should I really brighten them up with just a little bit of dry brush of silver? That's going to be a lot. I'll give it a light little shine just to the tops of their helmets, the very tops of their armor. This is the bait I usually have, so I can look at this as doing a base coat in natural steel, which would be the armor and helmets, and come back in and do just a light dry brush with the silver just to lighten it up a little bit. Since I've already done my wash phase, this is the touch-up phase where I'm just doing straps, belts, buckles, sword hilts. I think that's what we're gonna do, guys. We're gonna roll with a little silver, and then we'll cut away, and I'll get these based up, get them on the base, let them dry, then we'll come back in final segment of the video. I'm going to do my earth texture. If you've never used that product, stay tuned. Get to the end of the video. Be strong. I know you can do it. Power through into the end of the video, and you'll be rewarded with the final basing technique. All right. Keep an eye on my batteries. I'm just going to go ahead and, like I said, I'm probably going to get another Canon Vixia for my top down. I'm just going to do wired. I'm not playing with the batteries anymore. All right. So just a tiny dab into the pot here. Put him off to the side. I'm going to get my, let's see what I want to use here in my brush assortment. I got this guy used for standard dry brushing, but you can see this, it's been used quite a bit. I love these brushes. This is the classic small dry brush. He's going to be a little too big for this purpose. So I'll go over here to my cheapo brush collection. Like I said, guys, go to Hobby Lobby or something. And what I did is I took a standard brush, cheapo brush, and what I did on this one, see, I chopped him down. I chopped a lot of him down, so he's kind of like just a little stub. And this is perfect for this size mini, because I can just do this, right? Just the little tops of their armor, right? Just a little bit. So let's go in. I'm gonna start with just the tops of the helmets. Just a little bit. Doesn't take much, just a tiny bit. Tiny bit. Tiny bit. You don't have to go nuts, but you can see how that has just lightened up just the tops of the armor just a little bit. I'm gonna go in here and do his chest just a little bit. You can see I dab off to here and then I kind of spread it off to the side. I'm staying in the shot for you guys. Just the tops of his armor. Now, I think this brush would be good for the helmets, but I'm still not doing what I want to do. So you know what, I'm going to switch up here, guys. This is a part of the creative process. I clean that little stubby brush out, put him back over here. I'm just going to go in with my Le Regiment, and here's what I'm going to do with my Le Regiment. I'm just going to dab right on in there. I did not water this paint down. It's classic Vallejo metallic, so it's going to be a little thick, and I'm just going to go in, instead of doing a more dry brush technique, this is going to give me more control where I'm putting this silver. Just the very tops, just the very tops. And then like this one I got too much. Yeah, see, this is a little chunky for my tastes. I've been looking into some other model colors for my metallics, because the Vallejo sometimes, guys, it's just, they can start to get a little chunky, and you don't use a lot of metallics, so you need something that holds up long term. When I'm applying this, it's just not smooth. So another remedy that I can do for this problem is adding some more distilled water into the paint with one of my lead sinkers, and try to mix it up more. But this is one of the things you got to just pick up as you go along when you're in the hobby, and just see, that's much nicer. It's not like a chunky mix. Just the tops of his helmet, just the very tops of the armor. I'm going to leave some of that brown on that armor because I want it to look dirty. These guys are out in the field fighting. They did not just shine up their armor, right? But we want to pick up the glint. See, here's the other one. He's got way too much wash settled on that sword. This will help their swords to get that nice shine to them, right? So yeah, I mean, the Citadel, and I have some more Citadel left over here from years ago. Some of them I take out and they've just gotten too dry and clumped up. So I've thrown some of them out, but I see this guy, he got a lot of too much wash on his helmet. You see, then I just fixed it. I just fixed that problem. It's a little bit kind of like a dry brush technique, but I'm just very lightly skimming the very tops of the armor, just to get very lightly. No pressure, just pulling it across those armor plates. Right, so I'm still leaving the dark deep in the recess, yet I am adding that little glint of steel color. Right. Right on the very tops. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Looks good. Rest of it looks good. The other side of his sword here. And you see how fast that this can go. Right tops of his helmet. Back. Tops of his armor. Zing, zing, zing. Going across just about the angle the sun would hit it, you know. Zing, zing, zing. Bada bit, bada boop. Okay, the very front of his shield, maybe. The top of his helmet. Side, we're in the top of his armor. Dip, 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 dip. See that breastplate right there. Oh yeah, this thinning this down was the secret sauce. Okay, that was the secret sauce. Okay, what that does. Perfect. Perfect. And last but not least, before I go change out my batteries, like a so. Very happy with that. Nice effect. Very nice effect. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. We can clearly say that these are tabletop standard. And I can't really see any other touch-ups that I really need to do. Clean up my brush, put my silver away. I'm trying to break that old bad habit, guys, of letting I have my nice carousel. It keeps everything organized. OCD. Part German. Everything must be organized. Order. Order. And I put this guy away so I have this big pile of paints. Alright, so guys, I'm going to switch out the batteries. We'll come right back in. We'll start putting these on the base. Okay, let's get these based up. Now, any of you that have followed my channel know my wife has her own channel, cooking, etc. And she's an avid canner. So I have lots of these ball mason jars floating around. So I keep all my lids in these. I've got like 4 over here. I got a big one back there that's a bigger ball mason jar that's full of these lids. I figured, you know what? There could be a point in time in the future I do a really big project. And I think as I get into this Indominus kit, I want to be eating up some of these with my paints. So I got those. We're gonna take the Romans off the bases, and we're gonna arrange them onto my thingy, my base. Adjust the camera there for you guys. Now, what do I use? I get on Amazon. I buy these by bulk. I buy packs of 10. I think there's 80 per pack, so this should last me for several years. It's just poster tack. I can get several uses out of them, and then they tend to get a little dry and crusty, and then you just pitch them. And you see here, I've got some of the older projects. You can see I'll once you work with them with your hands, your fingers, you can get them soft again and then reuse them. So it's not just a one-use deal. So these really are, I think, worth it. A lot of guys just use Elmer's glue, white glue. Just put a little dab. A lot of guys use the little pop caps, or some guys use wine corks. Hey, that's a great use of wine corks, especially if you're a wine drinker. So I drink wine, but it's not my full-time thing. I'll have it every once in a while if we go to a fancy restaurant or on a trip. So that's what we're looking at. Then we're going to go into the Bob Smith. Right, we're going to go in with the Bob Smith, which is AKA super glue. Right, so there you have it. So let's get these off the bases and back into the jar, and then we will arrange them in a cinematic fashion. Right, cinematic fashion. See it pull off pretty quickly, pretty smoothly, and this is one of the rewarding parts of this hobby, is getting to this basing phase. So we're looking at doing 5 and 5. We got the javelin guys, or they got the pilum, which is basically a modified spear. We'll be putting them in the back row. Get these. Should probably pull them off from back to front or front to back, because that's where the bulk of the support is for the miniature. Yeah. See what I did? I just broke this shield off. No harm, no foul. That's why they invented super glue. So yeah, definitely subscribe to War Games Illustrated. It's worth it just in the sprues that you get. Now see, that jar's packed full again. I'll put him back over here on the shelf. No, this is not a paid promotion for War Games Illustrated. Although, War Games Illustrated, if you're watching this, you want to give me something extra for no extra cost for promoting your magazine, hey, give me a shout. So, here's how it is with this. Look, I've got 3 more sprue kits I haven't even touched yet. I'm just sitting over here. One of those rainy, cold days, blowing, wintry days, and I feel like either doing samurai. There's a whole flat of samurai. These are German troops for bolt action and winter garb, right? As we showed on the channel, you can also play battle group at 28 mil. And then this is a 28 mil bolt action Pacific. So I'm going to be using these. I'm going to get me some Japanese. I'm going to get me some more Marines. So it's a smart marketing technique, because all this stuff I want, right, and at a future date. I got things. We're about 6 months out here on the channel planned out. But this one especially, Test of Honor, Samurai Skirmish Battles. Oh, I'm so looking forward to that. I've always loved the Japanese culture, right? Konnichiwa, konnichiwa. So, there we have it. Happy Tack. We got him off. Now let's get this guy's shield glued back on. This will be easy. So, get the shield back on there. Make sure it's right side up. And there's the reason I like to use, instead of going to the dollar store, I know a lot of guys like to do that, I like to get the Bob Smith because it comes in different drying times and different thicknesses, depending on what type of kits or models you're building. Like I said, I like to do the Tamiya and Dragon full-blown model kits and make them into dioramas, as you see in some of my past videos. That will be upcoming to the channel in the future as well. as well as the train stuff. And depending on what I'm working on in my modeling, I may want something a little thin, but I like this extra thick 20 to 25 second drying time. Perfect for building miniatures, right? So we got his shield glued back on. It's already setting up. I'm gonna put this over to the side. I'll use that as a brush cleaner, brush dryer. Put this back where it goes. Gotta grab the Dirty Bastard, guys. Cheers from Founders Brewing. It's Dirty Bastard. So chocolatey, so thick. Scottish ale. All right, so let's get into this. So I'm going to size it up. I got the two pylon guys in the back. I'm kind of going to look, I kind of don't like these two guys because they're so similar in their pose. In fact, they may be the exact same pose. So, you know, obviously we don't want anything like that. I'm also going to play with placement because you're not having to do a strict rank up. You're going to figure these guys are going to be in battle. So I'll stagger them around a little bit, and I kind of want to see, let's put this guy in the back because he's been injured. He's got a patch on his head. So they probably put him in the second row. And the other way I like, reason I like doing this basing with the multi-basing is I can still form a large unit. You know, so you've got large units, extra large units, and Hail Caesar in most of these mass infantry battles. So what? I can just put another 10 next to them, another 20 behind these, and that has now become a extra large or a large unit, which does give you some advantages depending on what your strategy is and the battlefield layout, etc. You may want to keep them in smaller units. Hail Caesar, you tend to have a stamina of 6, which is this unit will be able to take 6 hits, 6 wounds before they're going to start testing for failure, and you're going to have to pull them off the battlefield, right? So I'm kind of looking at this. I'm kind of thinking I want to put this guy in the middle. I think that's going to look better. But you kind of get the general idea here, guys. I'm just playing around with which way they're facing, their dynamic pose. I want this to look like a snapshot. I'm going to put this guy, no, I keep him in the middle. Like I said, if I ever need to transport these, I kind of want to keep the spears in the middle. Which again, you know, these guys are coming up. I'm going to get these painted. They've been sitting on my table for quite a while, but there was another kit that I got with my War Games Illustrated, and I gotta say, I had some leftover flesh the other day, and I went ahead and did the flesh on these to use up the flesh, my flesh tone, which I like to use buff, Vallejo buff, because by the time I put the washes, etc. on, it darkens it some, so I wanted to use a little brighter flesh tone for my flesh. But these are going to be so fun to paint. These are the medieval pikemen, and they've got all of the Italianate puffy sleeves and all the cool stuff that comes on them, right? The different colors, the bold colors, right? Those are going to be fun to paint. I've got 5 of those. So let's kind of get it this way. I'm kind of wanting to make sure nobody's hanging out over the edge. So I kind of want to got a little bit of that going on. Move him down just a little bit. I think that's good. We don't want to get too picky. But yeah, that's that front row. They're going to hit with their shields, and stab. And then once they get fatigued, they'll fall back, and that next line will come up. So they're constantly circulating them like that, so they've got a fresh line of troops coming up, you know, skewering the enemy, right? So that's how we're going to have it. So let's go ahead. I'm going to hit the base with my Bob Smith. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a picture in my mind of where how this guy was placed. I'm just going to go right down the line. Right down the line. Now this material I'm using, they use for the bottom of like dresser drawers, right? That's really what this is used for. So one side is very smooth, one side has a texture. I have the textured side up because I'm going to put my basing material on there. I've used Luan, all that sort of stuff before, and I really love this material. And again, I got this from Home Depot. You can get it online and have it shipped right to your place. And it's 1/8 inch thick, perfect thickness. Now, as far as circular bases, guys, I just buy those. I get these in bulk in various sizes on Amazon. Oh, they smell like nice burned wood because they're laser cut. And these are really cheap. You can get them in big bulk bags, 25 mil, 20 mil for your command stands. They've got really big ones, for even bigger ones for command stands. So I just buy the circular ones in bulk. But I have found that the rectangle ones for multi-basing, if you're going to do multi-basing, you're either looking at doing something like this, making your own bases. I'm sure someone out there is selling laser cut bases similar to this. I haven't found any. And you see the ones that have the recessed circles, so you can base them on the circle bases and fit them on. Now we're back to movement trays again, right? And I'm just trying to avoid that like the plague. Like I dealt with all that with Warhammer Fantasy, right? I had magnets on them. I magnetized them. It's just too much. And if I ever need to take one of these armies, like my 15 mil AWI, American War of Independence, you can put the flex magnets on the bottoms of these. You may not really need to do that. You could just recess some rare earth magnets on the bottoms of these, and then use one of the Magna racks with your battle foam bag, and you could rank them all up on that. That would be perfect. Okay, so I've got these guys based. We're going to let them dry, and then we're going to come back with my earth texture. That's what I'm using, and I'll show you the ins and outs of using that, and really how easy it is and what a great effect it makes. And so hang around, stay to the end. All right, let's get these properly based. Now, someone with a keen eye out there may have noticed back when I built these in excuse me, 2018. This is my older ones. I would just initial them and do them. Now I initial them, date them, and sign them. But I did not use, back in the day, 2018, I was not using this. But I really do. I'm still going to put some grass. I have my bin here that has a special blend with some train. This is just train ballast, guys. These little stones. And you can see it really does a good job of giving that whole Grecian, ancient Roman kind of feel, to the basing. So let's get right in. And those of you that follow my channel, getting low, I'm gonna have to order me some more of this from Amazon. I've got several types, but this is the brown earth. I like this. If I needed to, I can put this on. I can use a wash if I want to darken it just a little bit. And with this also, it's almost like a when it dries, it's almost like a rubbery texture. And before it dries, you can sprinkle the flocking on and it'll set into this material. But for my purposes, these are the two tools I like to use. You could use a skewer, a barbecue skewer, anything you can use to push this around. But highly recommend, get on Amazon. They sell these stainless steel sculptor kits. It comes with multiple different types of tools. And these are the two that I like to use for this basing. This for getting in little tight spots, right? And my main spreader. So I'm gonna go in, don't get too much, just a little bit, a little dab will do ya. And then I come right up the middle and I start laying it down. And this is the reason this stuff works so good, guys, is it hides those bases. The problem with when you just use flocking, a lot of times you can still see the shape of the base through the flock. This will eliminate that, and the more you use this material, the better you get at applying it. It's really not a big deal, and it makes the model look so much better. Ditch the glasses here. I'm nearsighted, so if I'm close up, I'm good. So just one of the tricks I can tell you with this material is don't put too much on your tool. Right? Don't put too much on. Right? Like I said in other videos, I'm not. We're not. This isn't about how fast you can. If you're a guy or a person that thinks that you're going to go at this and get these models done quickly, you're getting into the wrong hobby. We go in, we lay it down, then we smooth it out, just like peanut butter. And you see what I'll do? I'll get a blob and get up next to the base. Make sure I'm staying in the shot here for you guys. I really need to get online tomorrow morning and get me some more of this. This is really becoming my favorite color. And like I said, you can darken it. I have a dark earth that I will use sometimes, but I like to go lighter if I want to go a little darker, a medium brown. That dark earth is dark right off the bat. There's no lightening that up. So it depends on the circumstance. I mean, it depends on what you're basing. If you want that dark earth, that would, as I'm doing more stuff with sci-fi and Space Marines and stuff, that may be something more that I can go with. You see here, it's easy to work with. Don't be intimidated by this material. You go over the edge just a little bit. Let's try to center this on the shot. Just scrape it off. And anymore, guys, with this basing material, I don't even do the edges of the bases with paint anymore. I just leave them natural. I think it looks better that way. It's a technique I learned from Rob Rhodes. That's really what he does, and it just gives it a nice effect, I think. It really personalizes your builds. Like I said, this is an art form. You know, modeling is an art form. So everybody's got to have their own style that you can develop for the hobby. So put a little bit on there. I come in with my pointer and get him up in between the legs, up around the shoes. Like I said, one of the main reasons I use this material is I want to make sure those bases are not showing through. Right. Get a blob right there that I can work with. Get between his legs. We want that rough. Looks like, you know, real ground, you know, that they're marching on, you know. So I put him down there. You get on this better. Put a blob. Definitely too much. This will work. And put this over here, the excess. I'll end up spreading that out. And then come in. If you get a little bit on the bottom of their shield, or hey, it just makes it look like mud. Right? Like they've got some mud on their shield. Yeah, this is not a fashion show. These guys are fighting for their lives. They gotta kill these Celts, these barbarians. Right? Yeah, it's easier to go in with your white glue, and I like to use wood glue when I do my basing, and just do the flock. It makes it a lot easier. It likes to go even quicker, but like I said, when you get used to this technique, it is not hard. And it looks so good, right? It looks so good. Getting low. Getting low, Joe. I'll put a blob there, bob there. Right. Come in. A little bit on his leg, scrape it off. I've had jerk-offs. Oh, that's not necessary. And okay, that's fine. Hey, if you don't like using this product or not interested, hey, don't watch this part of the video. This is something that I do. I've learned from guys like Rob Rhodes and going to conventions. You know, the top guys, the guys that are really building amazing multi-based models. This is what they're doing, guys. This is the next step. Right, this is the next step. And it's just the same consistency as peanut butter. Alright, I'm going to grab my other tool that I use. I've got these guys. These guys are pretty tight. I get my big areas with that. And I'm getting my other sculpting tool that has more of a taper. Right, this guy's got more of a taper. And this is what I'll use to finish up the middles. It says it's been 2 years since I've done this on the Romans, and I'm going to have to switch over to my narrow tip sculpting tool. Really finish these out. Yeah, see, this is much better for these guys. But that kit, I think it's like 20-25 bucks on Amazon. Yeah, this is working much better. Right. It actually fits perfectly right between their feet. Right, so I can really finesse it. There's a spot right there. And then I'll come in from this angle. It's just like with the painting with my lids. It's all about getting those angles, guys. Getting in on the right angle. Right. Well, I'm really scraping. I thought I said this to myself last time I was doing this. I'm getting low on this earth texture, and I just didn't. Probably got sidetracked as usual. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get up in the morning when I come down to the studio and get me another jar of this on the way. Right. I'd rather have too much on hand. It's just like with food. I'd rather have too much food in the house than not enough food. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those people. I'm a proud prepper. I should have started with this tool. I think I grabbed the wrong tool out of the drawer, guys. Let's turn these guys around and go at it from the other side. And I know a lot of you guys, you know how relaxing this is. It's just... stop thinking about the worries of the world. Because the reality is, there's not much we can do about it anyway. Right? A lot of nonsense going on these days, guys. A lot of nonsense. But I digress. So then scrape the side, scrape the side. And almost done, guys. If I would have started with this tool, I'd be done. I had too big of a spreader. But that's the advantage of having that kit, because I got other tools in here. Excuse me, there's other instances where I'm working on various types of kits. I could switch up and use another type of tool that gets into the nooks and crannies. Oh yeah, see, that looks just like real earth. In there. Perfect. Go back. Just like with painting, just make sure I'm not missing anything. Come in with a different angle. Right? Alright, I'm happy with that. Now, put that back down, scrape off the excess. Let's get our tools cleaned up. It is water soluble, right? Most Vallejo products are water soluble, so a little water, take it right off. You see that's already started drying on that sculpting tool, and it has a very rubbery texture. Right? Pretty interesting stuff. I've been using this probably a year and a half. This material for my basing when I want to do basing like this, when I need to do basing like this. And then what we'll do here, guys, is we're going to get my tub. Now I got it big tubs, I got little ones depending on the base sizes. These big tubs are nice because it catches the excess, so to speak. Let's stir him up. I'm going to put him over to catch any excess, and I'm not going to go the whole thing, just a little bit here and there, so leave some earth here and there poking through, but you see that will eliminate seeing those bases. And let this dry overnight. Right, I'll come back in. I have various, grass clumps. I could put larger rocks or stones if I wanted to. And then she'll be ready to go over here to the airbrush booth and have her protective top coat put on her. I've got a couple other things staged I'm going to do all at the same time. I'm going to pull him off to the side. And there you have it, guys. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for liking and subscribing. And congratulations, you made it to the end. You're a winner. You are a winner. All right, guys, see you next time. Ciao.